Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. In this session, we'll be discussing from the 11th verse of the 9th chapter of the first canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Panduputran upasinan prashraya prema sangatan abhyachashta anuragashrair andhi bhutena chakshusha. The meaning of this verse: the sons of Maharaj Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhishma Deva congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes, for he was overwhelmed by love and affection. So this is a very touching scene on the battlefield after the battle is over. Bhishma is ready to quit his body. The Pandavas have come there, arrived there. The Pandavas were sitting near Bhishma Deva, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. The Pandavas could remember how Bhishma Deva actually took charge of their protection when Pandu died early, when the Pandavas were very young. So Bhishma took charge of the upbringing of the Pandavas. So they were naturally feeling so much affection for Bhishma Deva. They were very grateful. And as far as Bhishma Deva is concerned, he was very happy to see the Pandavas getting back their kingdom, which was rightfully theirs. Only because of injustice by the Kauravas, the Pandavas were deprived so far of their kingdom. So Bhishma Deva was overwhelmed with love and affection, and there were tears in his eyes. He was very happy that the Pandavas got back their kingdom after the battle of Kurukshetra. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, when Maharaj Pandu died, his sons were all small children, and naturally they were brought up under the affection of elderly members of the royal family, specifically by Bhishma Deva. This is the Vedic culture, that the joint family system that prevailed earlier, especially in the ancient times, everyone was properly taken care of by the elderly members of the family. Especially the younger ones were taken care of by the elderly members of the family. So in a joint family system, the elders are there to guide the youngsters in every respect. It's not that we learn only by going to a particular school or going for some specific skill development only. No. One can learn simply by being in the association of great personalities of responsible people. Just by observing, just by being in the association, so many things can be learned. Now, in the modern society, this joint family system is no longer prevalent, and therefore the children are missing out a great deal of wisdom that they could have got from the elders of the family in a joint family system. In these nuclear families, if let us say the mother or the father is not at home, the children are deprived so much of elderly care, and the conditions are becoming worse when both the parents have to go to work and the children are under the care of some maids or some neighbors or some daycare center, like that. Some alternate arrangements they make, but it never can substitute effectively the care given by the parents, the elders, the well-wishers, can never be substituted. So here the Pandavas were very fortunate that Bhishma Deva took charge of the upbringing of these Pandavas in the palace, Hastinapura palace. Later on, when the Pandavas were grown up, they were cheated by cunning Duryodhana and company. The Kauravas, especially Duryodhana. Duryodhana was very, very envious of the Pandavas. Very envious of the Pandavas. Because he knew that even though his father was the caretaker king because of Pandu's early death, and the Pandavas were not of age, they were not mature to assume the throne. So, Bhishma had taken a vow never to occupy the throne. So, Bhishma could not take charge of ruling. And then Dhritarashtra was disqualified because he was blind. But in the absence of a suitable king to rule the whole world in the Kuru dynasty, so Bhishma instructed Dhritarashtra to be the caretaker king till the Pandavas come of age. The eldest son of Pandu will inherit from his father the kingdom. Pandu was the eligible king when he was ruling, but he died early, and therefore Yudhishthira had to take charge, but Yudhishthira had to wait. So in the meantime, this Dhritarashtra was the caretaker king. So when the Pandavas did grow up, they were cheated by cunning Duryodhana and party. So many ways Duryodhana cheated the Pandavas by an unfair gambling match. And before that also, he was occupying the throne and giving the Pandavas some small place, some insignificant place to rule. So it was just plain cheating, no doubt about it. But Bhishma Deva, even though he knew the Pandavas were innocent and were unnecessarily put into trouble, Bhishma Deva could not take the side of the Pandavas for political reasons. Bhishma was being maintained by Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra was the caretaker king. So Bhishma thought that since Dhritarashtra is maintaining me, I have to take his side. And Dhritarashtra was always favoring his own sons, even though his sons were unjust. They were cheaters. they always plotted to kill the Pandavas, secretly plotted. And even though Dhritarashtra knew this, he never stopped Duryodhana from doing all these nefarious activities. So Dhritarashtra is equally a sinner. Even though he actually did not personally kill the Pandavas or attempt to kill the Pandavas, but he was always supporting Duryodhana out of affection for his own son, who was a demoniac mentality personality, evil-minded. Dhartarashtrasya durbuddhe yuddhe priyachikirishavaha. Arjuna describes this in the Bhagavad Gita. It is mentioned in the first chapter. Arjuna tells Krishna, let me see who are all present against whom I have to fight, who have taken the side of this evil-minded Duryodhana. Dhartarashtrasya durbuddhe. Durbuddhi. Evil-minded. Cunning. Cheating mentality. Asuri swabhava. This is Duryodhana. And Duryodhana was supported even not only by Dhritarashtra, even his younger brothers. They were also supporting him. So, whole gang of cheaters and cunning persons, cunning fellows. So, Bhishma was feeling very, very sorry for the Pandavas that he could not take their side. And when the battle was fought, Bhishma had to fight on the side of the Kauravas, and Bhishma was very, very straightforward and upright and righteous person. So he would not cheat the Kauravas when fighting on their side. But in spite of that, because it will be explained in the next verse, because of Krishna, the Pandavas were protected in spite of the Kauravas being very, very strong. They could not win the battle. So when Bhishma Deva saw his most exalted grandsons, the Pandavas, headed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, sitting very gently at his side, the great warrior grandfather could not check his loving tears, which were automatically flowing from his eyes. So he was very, very satisfied and happy that my grandsons, the Pandavas, who were cheated by Duryodhana, now they have got back their kingdom. They got back their kingdom. And Bhishma Deva knew it very well. The Pandavas are very, very righteous, so virtuous. So they'll rule the kingdom perfectly. The citizens, the whole world will be benefited by Pandavas ruling the world. Krishna also wanted that. He wanted the Pandavas, his devotees, to rule the world. Not the non-devotee party of Duryodhana. No. That's why Krishna arranged the battle of Kurukshetra. And it is explained, Krishna arranged to assemble all those miscreants who had escaped the various times when Krishna was engaged in killing the demoniac natured persons. Krishna came to reduce the burden of the earth, which is overburdened by demoniac forces. So all those who were remaining, they were assembled by Krishna's arrangement on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. All of them were killed. So Bhishma was very, very happy. And Krishna arranged that Bhishma see the Pandavas after they had won the battle. And he could die peacefully, satisfied that there was justice ultimately for the Pandavas. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.